So let's talk a little bit about commas for this week. This is probably the number one grammar issue I see in students writing. So let's review a little bit. Commas, the purpose of commas are to separate. That's what commas do. But they are not strong enough to keep two ideas held together by themselves. Okay, so that's why we use those ands, but, or, not. Commas by themselves are not that strong. Periods are much stronger. Semicolons fall in the middle. So commas are meant to separate out to help clarify an idea. So here's how that looks. So we use commas to separate words, phrases, or clauses in a list. This one you're probably familiar with. So here we have these commas in between these three items, right? Here we have ham and eggs, waffles and syrup, and cereal were served for breakfast. And so hopefully you can see how commas make meaning. If we had done ham, eggs, waffles, and syrup, and cereal, then we'd have 5 things, right? But instead we've said, no, you can have ham and eggs, you can have waffles and syrup, or cereal. So we've actually narrowed it down to 3 different options. So that's how commas make meaning. So keep that in mind. That's the purpose of commas, is to show what things go together and how they're separated from other ideas. Commas are also used to separate introductory words or thoughts from the rest of the actual sentence. So after the storm was over, we went home. So what's the sentence itself? Well, the sentence is we went home. This is just extra information right here. So we put a comma between it and the real sentence it is describing. Okay? We also use commas to set off interrupting words, phrases, or clauses. So here, Jonathan will, in fact, serve on the committee. Well, the sentence itself is, Jonathan will serve on the committee. This guy right here is just extra. So we put commas around it, again, to separate it from the actual sentence. If we want to put 2 sentences together with a conjunction, we can do that to make a compound sentence. Again, remember, commas cannot stand alone. They're weak punctuation. So you cannot have one sentence, just a comma, and then another sentence. It has to also include one of these coordinating conjunctions. Many of you may have heard these as the fanboys, the for, or, sorry, I lost my train of thought. For and nor, but, or, yet, so. There we go. So never put one sentence, just a comma, and then another complete sentence. That's called a run-on. We don't want that. So if you have 2 ideas put together, we can use a comma, but then we also need one of these to actually help hold it together. Okay, commas can set off appositives. So appositives are just little phrases we stick in the middle of our sentences that give extra information about the subject. So Mr. J, our coach, taught at Walnut, a boys' school. Well, these things right here are just extra information about these nouns. So we, again, set them off with commas. The purpose here is to clarify what's extra and what's my actual sentence. We also use commas for dates and states. So we use it between cities and states, right? We also use it between dates. So December 22nd, 1967. Okay. That is only if we have the full day. So if you were just born in May 1984, we don't need that. We also use it with quotes to show, here's my quote. Now I have a comma to separate for the next idea. Okay, again, remember, commas separate, put things into chunks. Also for direct address, mostly because this is additional information. So we put this with a comma off to this side, because the actual sentence is, come over here. So keep that in mind. This is the point of commas. Your job then is to work through this comma practice, check your answers, watch the videos, and then take your quiz.